Okay, alright, that's it. Miss Marvel theory time. I've got a theory, my brain's been turning. Let's go. Needless to say, spoilers for the entirety of Miss Marvel, not just the finale, but the whole thing. Alright? Whew! Kamala Khan is not what you think she is. Ever since the finale, when Bruno said her genes look different, they have a mutation, and the whole X-Men 97 theme played, everyone's going mutant, mutant, mutant. Kamala Khan's a mutant. Even in the press, the creator is talking about she's probably a mutant. I don't buy it for a second. I've gone on record saying I believe Kamala is an Inhuman, and the mutant stuff is just a mislead. I have built my case like I'm a lawyer, like I'm Matt Murdock, alright? Here we go. So let's start off with the whole mutant thing, the X gene. Well, in the comics, correct me if I'm wrong, the X gene gets passed down through the male line, the father. The line from X-Men 1 where Jean Grey told Robert Kelly that if he had kids, he'd be the one giving his kids the X gene. So unless they're changing that for the MCU and making it so that the mother is the one that passes down the X gene, I don't think she's a mutant. Because we saw with Aisha, she had the powers first, okay? And it would have traveled down the female line. Now, Kamala's mom or grandma, they didn't show any powers, but her grandma was able to see the vision of the Karachi train when she used the bangle. Kamran got his powers from his mother before she died. Speaking of the clandestines, they are not clandestines. I say they are Inhumans. The clandestines were Inhumans, and here's why. Kamala's dad told her about the Jinn, and how Jinn were also known as clandestines, which means that the clandestines are not just some other dimensional race. That's what they've been called. And the show told us repeatedly they are not Jinn. So if the clandestines are not Jinn, what are they? Or like as people theorize when they open the the veil to the other dimension, the Noor, they died. They got hardened in this, rock crystallized thing that looked similar to the Terrigen cocoon, and they die. And in the comics, Inhuman Terrigenesis does not always go to plan. Sometimes you just die. Let's talk about the Noor dimension that they were trying to get to. They are not Jinn, clandestines with their own dimension. What is that dimension? I believe it's the negative zone. And I believe for the MCU, they are placing the Inhumans not on the moon, but in the negative zone. And here's why. We learned from the One Red Dagger dude that the Noor dimension cannot coexist with our universe. It would destroy it. Which in the comics is what would happen if the negative zone connected directly to our universe. Because of the antimatter. It would blow everything up. Everyone thinks to be the Noor dimension is the negative zone called by a different name. Speaking of the negative zone, let's talk about Kamala's bangle. Aisha found the bangle off of a blue hand, obviously a Kree. The comics, the negative bands were made by Kree. And the negative bands allow the wearer to transport back and forth between the negative zone. This would happen in the comics between Rick Jones and the original Captain Marvel. They would switch places. And what happened in the post-credit scene of Miss Marvel? Carol and Kamala switched places. It all goes back to the Kree. Kree created the Inhumans, and the Inhumans in the MCU are from the negative zone. Kamala would think she's a mutant at first, but no, she is an Inhuman. Kevin Feige, my god, man, you need to call me, please.